There is one skill that silently decides your income, your opportunities, and your future. If you master it, doors open. If you avoid it, life stays small. Today, you will learn how to sell yourself with confidence, even when rejection shakes your voice. Selling yourself is not about ego. It is about presenting the truth of your value with clarity, courage, and calm conviction. Most people never rise because fear of rejection locks their potential inside a quiet cage. They wait for approval. They wait for recognition. They wait for someone to choose them. The wise person understands that waiting is not a strategy. Action is. This message will show you 5 proven ways to step into rooms, conversations, opportunities, and challenges with a stronger identity and a more persuasive presence. If you feel nervous, if you feel unsure, or if rejection has stopped you before, stay with this speech until the final word. One idea from this message can change how people see you. More importantly, it can change how you see yourself. Confidence grows through small, repeatable actions that slowly reshape how you see yourself. Most people treat confidence like a personality trait, something you either have or you do not have. That misunderstanding keeps them stuck. Confidence is not a gift handed to the lucky. It is a practiced skill built through deliberate preparation, reflection, and honest ownership of your strengths. When you understand that, you stop waiting for courage to arrive, and you start building it day by day. The first step in selling yourself is understanding your own value with clarity. You cannot present what you have not defined. This is where many people fall short. They walk into conversations unsure of their strengths. They approach opportunities hoping someone else will validate them. They speak softly about their abilities because they never took the time to identify those abilities in the first place. When you operate from that kind of uncertainty, fear expands. When fear expands, your voice shrinks, your posture tightens, and your presence fades. That is why preparation matters so deeply. Preparation turns unknowns into knowns. Known information produces calm. Calm supports confidence. Begin with a simple exercise. Write down every strength you have, no matter how small it appears. Write the skills you have mastered and the qualities that define your character. Include the things people often compliment you for, even if you dismiss them. Confidence starts with awareness of what you bring to the table. Once you see your strengths clearly on paper, your mind begins to accept them as real rather than imagined. This alone increases your ability to speak about yourself with conviction. The person who knows their strengths can stand firm. The person who guesses tends to hesitate. Practice is the next layer of confidence. Many people think they need to wait for the perfect situation to speak well. They assume confidence only appears in big moments. Reality works differently. Big moments reflect the quality of your preparation, not your mood. The best performers do not rely on adrenaline. They rely on repetition. You produce confidence through quiet practice long before anyone sees your performance. If you want to introduce yourself effectively, practice it. If you want to present your value clearly, practice explaining it. If you want to negotiate with steadiness, practice speaking the words before you ever sit in front of another person. Every rehearsal strengthens your certainty. Every repetition trims away doubt. Confidence also expands when you learn to speak truthfully about your achievements. Many people struggle here because they confuse honesty with arrogance. They silence themselves to avoid appearing self-centered. That silence costs them opportunities. There is nothing arrogant about stating facts. You have worked, learned, improved, and contributed. Hiding those realities does not create humility. It creates invisibility. Selling yourself requires a balanced voice that shares your accomplishments with sincerity. You speak to inform, not to impress. You highlight results because they reflect your capability, not your ego. A powerful way to strengthen confidence is to shift yourself, talk from questioning to confirming. The internal dialogue you carry shapes your outward presence. If you tell yourself you are not good enough, it shows in your posture and tone. If you remind yourself that you have prepared, practiced, and earned your place, it shows in your expression and delivery. Your mind listens to every message you feed it. Feed it messages that support your goals rather than messages that weaken them. Self-trust grows from consistent self-support. Confidence follows that trust. Another important element is responsibility. Confident people accept responsibility for the results they want. They do not blame circumstance, timing, or luck. They look inward first. They understand that opportunity comes to those who prepare for it. When you take responsibility for your growth, you naturally increase your confidence. You know you can rely on yourself. You know that your effort, not external judgment, determines your progress. Responsibility removes helplessness, and helplessness is a major enemy of confidence. Clarity of identity also strengthens your ability to sell yourself. People want to interact with individuals who know who they are. When you present yourself with steadiness and consistency, others feel at ease. Confidence is not loudness or charm. Confidence is alignment between your actions and your values. When you speak from a place of alignment, your words carry weight. When your values are unclear, your voice wavers. Take time to define what you stand for, what you believe in, and what you aim to achieve. This clarity anchors your presence. It gives you a foundation to stand on when pressure rises. A helpful practice is to study your past successes, not to live in them, but to learn from them. Look at moments when you performed well. Examine what you did right. Notice the preparation that led to those wins. Confidence grows when you build evidence that you can succeed. Your mind needs reminders of your victories so it can trust your ability to create more. Every time you recall a success, you reinforce your identity as someone capable. That identity influences every conversation where you must sell yourself. You also build confidence by embracing small challenges. Many people wait for motivation before taking action, yet action often produces motivation. When you take small steps that push you beyond comfort, you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort. That proof is priceless. Each small challenge becomes a brick in the structure of your confidence. Over time, those bricks form a solid foundation. Then, when a bigger challenge comes, you do not collapse. You stand firm because you have practiced standing firm in smaller situations. Confidence is strengthened further through intentional body language. Your posture, breathing, eye contact, and pace of speech communicate before your words ever reach someone's ears. If your shoulders slump and your voice trembles, people sense your uncertainty. If you stand upright, breathe steadily, and speak clearly, people sense your stability. You do not need to pretend or perform. You only need to act in alignment with your preparation. Calm physical presence reinforces confident communication. Your environment influences your confidence as well. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth rather than those who multiply doubt. You absorb the energy of the people closest to you. When you keep company with individuals who believe in progress, you elevate your own standards. That elevation strengthens your self-belief. A supportive environment does not replace personal responsibility, yet it makes the journey easier and steadier. Confidence becomes sustainable when you commit to growth instead of perfection. Perfection creates pressure. Growth creates possibility. When you focus on improvement rather than flawless performance, your fear decreases. This decrease in fear allows your natural strengths to emerge. People respond well to someone who is genuine, prepared, and improving. They do not require perfection. They require authenticity supported by skill. When you combine clear understanding of your strengths, consistent practice, honest communication, responsible mindset, strong identity, small step challenges, steady body language, and a supportive environment, you become the kind of person who naturally sells themselves without force or fear. This is confidence built through discipline, not luck. Rejection is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. Most people treat it as a verdict, a final announcement that they are not worthy. That belief damages their confidence and shrinks their actions. The truth is far different. Rejection is not a judgment on your value. It is information. When you learn to interpret that information instead of fearing it, you gain a level of strength that separates you from the majority. Selling yourself becomes easier because your identity is no longer tied to someone else's immediate response. Many people never reach their potential because they take rejection personally. They assume every no means something is wrong with them. They focus on the discomfort rather than the message. When you see a no as a mirror instead of a wound, you begin to understand the hidden gift inside it. Sometimes rejection tells you to refine your skills. Sometimes it points out gaps in your preparation. Sometimes it simply tells you that the person or situation you approached was not the right fit. None of these insights reduce your value. They guide your direction. Imagine walking into a room expecting a yes and receiving a no. The untrained mind panics. It creates stories like "I am not capable" or "I should not try again." Those stories are illusions. They have no evidence behind them. The trained mind reacts differently. It pauses and asks what this experience is trying to teach. That one shift in thinking turns rejection from poison into fuel. You move from emotional reaction to strategic reflection. Growth replaces discouragement. Curiosity replaces fear. Selling yourself requires that level of stability. You cannot present your value confidently if every no feels like a personal attack. You need the emotional maturity to understand that rejection is part of every meaningful path. Even the most successful people in business, sports, and art experience countless rejections. The difference is that they treated those rejections as stepping stones. A stone can block your path or raise you higher. How you use it depends on how you interpret it. Rejection often provides clarity. If you pitch an idea and it gets declined, the feedback hidden in that moment might help you strengthen your communication. If you introduce yourself confidently and someone still does not respond positively, that interaction might remind you that not every person will see your value immediately. If you apply for an opportunity and get turned away, that outcome might challenge you to improve your portfolio, your presentation, or your skill set. In every case, the rejection gives direction. It shows you where to adjust, where to persist, and where to change your angle. Fear of rejection grows when you avoid it. Avoidance strengthens anxiety. Exposure weakens it. Every time you face a no and keep moving, you teach your mind that rejection cannot destroy you. That lesson becomes a powerful source of confidence. You stop treating rejection as a threat. You treat it as part of the journey. You stop running from opportunities. You begin seeking them. Even if 10 doors close, you stay focused because you only need one to open. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the willingness to advance despite the fear. There is a technique that helps you handle rejection with more control. It begins with emotional distance. When you hear a no, mentally step back and view the situation as if you were analyzing someone else's experience. This distance reduces emotional intensity. It allows you to examine the situation objectively. Ask what worked, what did not, what you can improve, and what the situation reveals about fit. When you think like an observer instead of a victim, you naturally make better decisions. Selling yourself becomes less stressful because you know that every outcome will give you usable information. You also strengthen your resilience by expanding your view of timing. Many rejections happen because the timing is not right. The person you approached might already have someone in that role. The opportunity might be full. The decision maker might be distracted or overwhelmed. None of this has anything to do with your value. The mistake people make is assuming that a no right now means a no forever. Often it means not now. When you understand timing, you begin to show patience. You follow up when appropriate. You stay ready for the next opening. You stop rushing outcomes. Patience supports persistence, and both support confidence. Another source of strength comes from understanding that rejection protects you as often as it challenges you. Sometimes a no keeps you from a situation that would have wasted your effort. Sometimes it redirects you toward a better opportunity. You only see this clearly in hindsight. For now, trust the idea that rejection is sometimes a form of redirection. When you carry this belief, you approach life with less frustration and more resilience. You know that something better might be ahead. Rejection also teaches you to communicate more effectively. If people do not respond well to your pitch, your message might be unclear. If they do not connect with your introduction, your tone or structure might need refinement. If they overlook your achievements, your presentation might need stronger examples. None of these are failures. They are cues. Selling yourself is a communication art. Rejection reveals where that art needs adjustment. Every improvement you make increases your chances of receiving a yes next time. There is a quiet power in detaching your identity from the outcomes you receive. When you rely on approval for validation, rejection hurts deeply. When you rely on preparation, self-awareness, and skill, rejection becomes manageable. You do not tie your worth to a response. You tie your worth to your effort and growth. This mindset gives you emotional stability. You walk into conversations with calm confidence. You deliver your message without desperation. People sense this calm energy. They respond to it positively. Rejection also builds character. Every no you face with courage strengthens your discipline. Every setback you endure with patience increases your emotional maturity. People trust those who show steadiness under pressure. They trust those who remain respectful despite disappointment. They trust those who keep improving even when the journey feels slow. Selling yourself becomes easier when your character speaks as loudly as your words. There is another lesson hidden inside rejection. It pushes you toward authenticity. When you face enough no's, you stop trying to please everyone. You start expressing your true identity. You learn that your goal is not universal approval. Your goal is alignment with the right people and the right opportunities. A no from the wrong place brings you closer to a yes from the right place. This understanding gives you freedom. You stop chasing validation. You start focusing on matching your strengths with the environments that value them. The more you face rejection, the more you normalize it. What once felt painful becomes a routine part of progress. You learn to breathe through discomfort. You learn to stay present. You learn to keep your voice steady. These skills directly increase your power in the moments when you need to sell yourself. Confidence built through comfort is fragile. Confidence built through discomfort is unshakable. Each rejection sharpens your message, strengthens your mind, clarifies your path, and deepens your resilience. You begin seeing rejection not as a barrier, but as guidance. Guidance that helps you refine your approach, improve your communication, and keep moving forward with purpose. Your value gains power only when it becomes visible. Many people have talent, discipline, and potential, yet remain unnoticed because they keep everything inside. They assume their work will speak for itself. They assume people will eventually discover them. Life does not work that way. People cannot respond to what they cannot see. Selling yourself is not about ego. It is the skill of making your value clear, accessible, and understandable so the right opportunities can find you. There is a common fear that if you talk about your abilities, people will think you are bragging. This fear pushes many individuals into silence. That silence slows their growth. There is a difference between arrogance and expression. Arrogance exaggerates. Expression informs. When you express your strengths, your achievements, and your goals with sincerity, you help others understand how you can contribute. You give them a map of your capabilities. Without that map, they are left guessing, and most people do not invest time into guessing. Visibility is not a loud performance. It is not a show. Visibility is clarity. It is the skill of presenting your value in a way that is simple, relevant, and honest. You explain what you can do. You describe what you have done. You articulate what you aim to achieve. When you speak with purpose rather than pride, people respect you. They trust you. They see you. Selling yourself becomes natural because your communication aligns with your character. To express your value effectively, you first need to believe in it. People often downplay their strengths because they compare themselves to others. Comparison is a thief that steals confidence quietly. When you measure yourself against someone else's journey, you forget the uniqueness of your own. No two paths are identical. Your experiences, lessons, challenges, and victories create a combination no one else can duplicate. This uniqueness is part of your value. Embrace it. When you appreciate your own story, you can communicate it with greater conviction. One powerful way to express your value is to share examples of your work. People respond to evidence. They want to see results. When you speak about what you have done, illustrate it with specific outcomes. Describe the impact you created, the improvements you made, or the challenges you solved. Results create trust. Trust creates opportunity. Selling yourself becomes easier because people can see the connection between your words and your actions. Communication is a crucial part of expressing your value. Many people communicate with too much complexity. They use long explanations and heavy descriptions. Simplicity strengthens your message. When you speak clearly, people understand you quickly. Clear communication shows confidence. It shows preparation. It shows respect for the listener's time. When people understand you easily, they are more likely to believe in you. Your tone also conveys your value. A calm, steady voice signals confidence. An uncertain voice signals doubt. You do not need to speak loudly. You only need to speak with clarity and intention. Take a moment before you talk. Breathe. Form your thoughts. Deliver your message at a pace that reflects control. This level of composure increases your presence. People sense when a person believes in their own words. Your body language must align with your message. If your shoulders slump or your eyes avoid contact, it weakens your communication. When you stand upright, look people in the eye, and hold a steady posture, you express trustworthiness without speaking. People often decide how they feel about you before they hear your full message. Strong body language ensures that their first impression supports your words rather than contradicts them. Consistency is another form of expressing your value. Anyone can show confidence once. Real influence comes from showing it repeatedly. Be consistent in how you communicate. Be consistent in how you show up. Be consistent in how you behave even when no one is watching. Consistency builds reputation. Reputation communicates your value before you enter the room. When people hear your name and associate it with reliability, discipline, or excellence, you have already sold yourself without saying a word. Your value also shines through your willingness to serve. When you speak about your abilities, connect them to how you help others. People are more drawn to value that benefits them rather than value that simply exists. If you can solve problems, explain how. If you can improve situations, demonstrate your process. If you can support teams, share examples. Selling yourself becomes easier when others can immediately see how your strengths fit their needs. Authenticity strengthens your ability to express your value. Pretending to be someone you are not weakens your presence. People sense when you are performing instead of presenting. Authenticity builds connection. When you speak truthfully about your experiences, including your challenges, people relate to you. They trust you because you are real. Authentic communication has a calm confidence that no performance can match. Another important element is initiative. People who wait silently rarely get noticed. Take the initiative to introduce yourself. Take the initiative to present your work. Take the initiative to speak up in moments where your contribution matters. Initiative signals leadership. Leadership signals value. When you take the first step, people see your willingness to engage. That willingness creates opportunities. Networking is also a form of expressing your value. Not networking for manipulation, but networking for connection. When you build relationships, you allow people to see your consistency over time. The more people get to know your character and your work ethic, the easier it becomes for them to advocate for you. Many opportunities arrive through relationships, and relationships grow when you express yourself with sincerity and purpose. Adaptability also increases your value. When you adjust your communication style to fit the environment or the person you are speaking with, you show emotional intelligence. You show awareness. You show thoughtful attention. Adaptability does not mean changing who you are. It means presenting your value in a way that the listener can best understand. People appreciate those who can meet them on common ground. Preparation strengthens your expression. When you prepare your thoughts, you are able to speak without hesitation. Preparation gives your message structure. It prevents rambling. It helps you highlight what matters most. When you present yourself with preparation, people feel your professionalism. They feel your commitment. They trust your competence. Selling yourself becomes easier because preparation removes uncertainty. Courage plays a major role as well. Many people stay silent because they fear judgment. They fear criticism. They fear misunderstanding. Courage is not the absence of these fears. Courage is the decision to speak anyway. When you push through the fear and present your value, you train your mind to operate beyond comfort. This training strengthens your presence. People respect those who communicate despite discomfort. Your mindset also shapes your ability to express your value. If you believe you are bothering people, your message will sound apologetic. If you believe you are offering something meaningful, your message will sound confident. The mindset you carry determines the energy you project. Carry a mindset that honors your effort, your growth, and your contribution. That inner respect will show naturally through your communication. Visibility grows through repetition. The more you express your value, the easier it becomes. Each conversation strengthens your skill. Each presentation sharpens your clarity. Each interaction teaches you how to communicate more effectively. Over time, expressing your value shifts from a challenge to a habit, a calm, steady habit that supports your goals and expands your opportunities. When you embrace expression, visibility, clarity, authenticity, courage, and preparation, you develop the ability to sell yourself with sincerity and strength. Your presence becomes noticeable. Your message becomes memorable. Your value becomes unmistakable.